Philippine markets and the economy. The campaign period begins for national elective posts tomorrow, Tuesday. Let's deep dive on the economy and markets in a midterm election year. The World Bank says headline inflation will continue to settle within the Bangko Sentral's target range until 2026. And my exclusive interview with Philippine Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman on transparency and bringing back public trust. As the official campaign period for national elective posts begins tomorrow, Tuesday, let's get a health check on the Philippine economy and markets. The Philippine stock market have posted gains in the midterm election years of 2019, 2013, and 2007. As you can see, gains north of 21%. Just before the global financial crisis. So far, year-to-date, January has disappointed with the dismal performance on the Philippine stock market, with the PSE index logging in the worst month by far, with a 10.2% decline for January. Now, the only other markets in Asia performing subpar are Korea and China, as you can see here, but both are a far second and worst performers. As for the local economy, the Philippine GDP growth has breached 6% levels during the midterm election years of 2019, 2013, and 2007. This is the COVID years that we've seen growth dip, but GDP growth has hovered below 6% for 2 consecutive years in 2023 and 2024 at 5.5% and 5.6%, respectively. So during the same midterm election years, yearly inflation appeared to be benign at 2% levels. In 2024, overall annual inflation came up to 3.2%. Now, that is still well within the Bangko Sentral's target range. Inflation for January has come in at 2.9%, still well within the BSP's target rate of 2 to 4%. So how does slower growth and relatively elevated inflation augur for the next policy decision of the Bangko Sentral in a midterm election year? We'll get some answers from PhilStock's Financial's Jafet Tantiangco in just a few minutes. The World Bank says Philippine inflation may still stay within the central bank's target until 2026, but warns of risks. In its latest report, the World Bank cites fare hikes, higher electricity rates, and rising food prices as factors that could increase inflation. It also warns that differences in U.S. monetary policy could weaken the peso and drive capital outflows. The Philippine Statistics Authority recently reported inflation held steady at 2.9% last month. Meanwhile, overall inflation for 2024 was 3.2%, meeting the central bank's 2 to 4% target for the first time since 2021. The World Bank stressed keeping inflation in check is key for further monetary easing and demand growth. It also urged for policies to increase production and enhance resilience to price shocks. Bangko Sentral Governor Eli Remolona says interest rates may only be cut by 50 basis points this year. Since August, the Monetary Board has cut borrowing costs by 75 basis points, bringing the key rate to 5.75%. The peso may trade between 57 to 58 pesos this week as the markets await updates on U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies. The Bankers Association of the Philippines says the peso closed at 58.03 pesos per dollar on February 7th, its best close in over a month since January 2. Week on week, the local unit rose by 33.5 centavos compared to January's close. A trader linked the peso's rise to a weaker dollar performance because of higher jobless rates in the U.S. Meanwhile, RCBC chief economist Mike Ricafort says it was because of Japan's hawkish signals. The dollar also rose after Trump said he would announce new tariffs in multiple countries this week. The peso may range between 57.80 to 58.30 pesos, while Ricafort forecasts a range of 57.70 to 58.20 pesos. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is expected to cut interest rates by 25 basis points on Thursday, February 13th. A Business World poll shows most analysts predict the key rate will drop to 5.5%. If confirmed, this would be the fourth straight cut since August. Economists from the Security Bank and Pantheon Macroeconomics already expected the rate cut, citing weak gross domestic product and stable inflation. Meanwhile, a city economist for the Philippines said the move is driven by weaker than expected economic growth and stable inflation. The Philippine economy grew by 5.2% in the fourth quarter, falling short of the government's target. Some analysts say this could help boost business activity and spending. Moreover, economist Emilio Neri says the peso's recent strength may also give the central bank to ease rates without putting too much pressure on the currency. However, some analysts warn the central bank will likely proceed cautiously, balancing growth support with financial stability. And for more on that survey, visit Business World online. Now, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is cutting interest rates on its discount window facility starting today, February 10th. For peso loans, the 1 to 90-day rate drops to 6.92%, while the 91 to 180-day rate falls to 7.095%. The DWF replaced the peso rediscounting facility in December and is basing its rates on the Bangko Central's overnight lending rate. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar and yen rates follow market benchmarks. For U.S. dollar loans, the rate inches up to 6.8028% for all terms of up to 360 days. Yen loans range from 2.58% to 2.73%. The Bangko Sentral may adjust the interest rate spread periodically to align with monetary policy goals and market rate changers. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman calls for more transparency in budget matters. But does she support the proposal to open the crucial bicameral deliberation stage to the public? Find out in this excerpt from my exclusive sit-down interview with Secretary Pangandaman.
You know, in Bangko Sentral, they're not really open and they're really not transparent. That's one of the issues that I came to know when I entered Bangko Sentral back then with Secretary Jokno, Governor Jokno. And then I attended the sideline during the UN event last October in New York City. And then it was a roundtable conducted with the OGP support unit. And then one of the issues raised there is that how can a central bank or even any financial institution be part of the conversation, be part of the community of open government. So that's when I thought, oh yeah, I think we should ask the central bank to be part of the family. But you know, in the Philippines, when Secretary Ben used to be DBM secretary, so he knows the open government partnership. It was among the forerunners. He tried to get a seat in the steering committee during his time. So he knows about the open government partnership. So when we moved to central bank, our tagline, our brand before was that bringing BSP closer to the people. So that's what we did. Central Bank Governor Ben Jokno then was open to media. He has a media engagement every week. We released a lot of press statements, a lot of publications, and we increased the financial inclusion program and project, among others. So, and then yes, digital payments. We went around the country to promote digital payments and financial inclusion. You heard about it, the BICAM stage. Yeah,
only
it's
because
not yet
it was
open.
closed door, and the criticism is that maybe it should be open to the public.
Maybe,
I mean, we're talking about transparency.
Should be. Why not?
Are
right?
you for it?
Yes. Why not? Why not?
Would you be able to gather the whole cabinet to say, why not? Let's open it to the public. So that,
yes.
You know, when people complain, they complain right there.
That's what transparency is all about. You know, when they ask what is open government to you, for me really is, number one is building relationship. When you have relationships like this with your friends, family, or your colleagues, everything seems to be much easier. And then when you have relationship, you build trust. So that's definitely the two core items of open government.
I like that you mentioned trust because as it appears right now with what's gone on, a lot of furore over the 2025 approved budget. We could have avoided this, couldn't we? I mean, if we had public participation right there, I mean, what can be learned so that we don't face an issue where the civil society, whom you want to put to your side, would go up against you?
Well, greater participation and really transparency. I think, yes, everything is quite transparent now, but there's just one state that really needs to be open. So, yeah, maybe we can, during our LEDAC also, we can probably make representations to our leadership in both houses if that's possible. But it's a constitutional mandate that it's part of the budget process. You have to give it to them. It's the power of the purse. So while we want to push for the president's budget to be the exact one once it was signed the president, but we also have to respect their mandate.
And also perhaps incentivize the civil society, the public itself, by showing them that this is not a defunding.
Yes.
Because from the view of the public, it seems that the projects that they care for most, the development projects, had been defunded, had been diminished. So right there and then, you just talked about public trust. There's like parang may nagkalamat kung sa ating lengguwahe, no? Kasi nga, bakit nyo kami tinanggalan ng pera? Eh kami na nga yung nagpa-participate para tulungan kayo.
In the new Government Procurement Act, there's a provision there on civil society or even POs, NGOs, as an observer in the procurement process, in all stages of the procurement process. I think that's important. That can be incorporated in the entire budget process as well.
So how are you looking to address all this? I mean, budget is one, but then there's also some governance issues. Unfortunately, coming on top of budget, the impeachment of the vice president, all this coming together, a lot of problems. It's never perfect, but how do you address that from an OGP?
We just move forward. We just continue to provide space for everyone to work together, build relationships, talk, continue with the discussion, be open, bukas. Maging open sa lahat. I mean, we have nothing to hide here. We're public officials. We're here to help. We're here to serve the people. So we just to continue to work.
My chat with Secretary Pangandaman, we discuss open government partnerships under Trump 2.0. Catch the excerpt tomorrow, Tuesday, here on Money Talks with Cathy Yang. You're watching Money Talks on One News. Coming up, it is game day. The Chiefs will defend their title against the Eagles in Super Bowl 59. And U.S. President Donald Trump discusses ending war in Ukraine with President Vladimir Putin from Russia. We have world news headlines coming right up. Keep it here on One News. 25 past 7 in New Orleans, and it's 45 past 9 here in Manila. It is game day, Super Bowl 59, and one of the VIPs in the audience is no less than U.S. President Donald Trump. He is the first sitting U.S. president to watch a Super Bowl game. He was greeted with a mix of cheers and jeers. The president met with police officers, emergency workers, and families of victims of the New Orleans attack on New Year. Meanwhile, global superstar Taylor Swift is also in attendance at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Swift's partner Travis Kelce will play for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here in the Philippines, the American Chamber of Commerce is holding a watch party of Super Bowl 59 in Makati. U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Mary Kay Carlson, joins American expats glued to the big screen as Kansas City Chiefs defend their championship title against the Philadelphia Eagles. Will it be a three-peat for the Chiefs? Let's see if they get to keep the Lombardi Trophy this year. Anticipation building too for Grammy-winning rapper Kendrick Lamar's halftime show alongside collaborator SZA. Here are the other stories making headlines around the globe. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will announce new tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports entering the U.S. Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One he will announce a 25% tariff on these metal imports. He will also announce reciprocal tariffs in the coming days. Raising levies on top of existing metal duties is yet another major escalation in Trump's trade policies. The U.S. president also spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin by phone about ending the war in Ukraine. In a Reuters report citing the New York Post, it says Trump would not acknowledge how many times he has talked with Putin, and the Kremlin has yet to comment on the discussion. Last week, Trump said the U.S. was talking to both Russia and the Ukraine about resolving the conflict, but he gave no additional details. In an interview with British TV network ITV, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said resolving the conflict in Ukraine should not only stop the war, but prevent future Russian aggression. He said he is willing to talk with Russia, but Western allies should be engaged. Meantime, Egypt announces that it will hold an emergency Arab summit on February 27 to discuss serious developments for Palestinians. The announcement comes after U.S. President Trump suggested in a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to resettle Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. Arab leaders have strongly rejected the proposal. In a statement yesterday, the Egyptian Foreign Ministry said it would host the Arab League summit in the capital of Cairo to discuss, quote, new and dangerous developments for the Palestinian cause. A U.S. federal judge temporarily blocks Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, from accessing government systems used to process trillions of dollars in payments. U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmayer has sided with 19 Democratic attorneys general who argued that DOGE has no legal power to access the Treasury Department systems. Musk, the world's richest man, called the ruling, quote, absolutely insane. Trump has named Musk as a special government employee tasked to stop wasteful budget spending. Stable inflation, stronger peso, and a pause in tariffs pushed trading to bounce back last week. The BSP's policy rate decision will determine whether this trend continues this week. The PSEI closed on Friday at 6,154.99, up by 4.99% based on its 5-day performance. Let's take a look at today's opening numbers there, and we're seeing a drop of about 1% at 6,154. Now, our next guest says a cut in policy, rather, together with a dovish outlook, is expected to give the markets a boost. Well, joining us now in the studio, Japhet Tantiangco, the research manager at PhilStock's Financial. Japhet, so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Ma'am Cathy, and thank you very much for inviting me on your show, and congratulations.
Oh, you're most welcome. Happy to be our first markets guest here. So how are the markets looking at the onset with what you're seeing?
Well, with respect to the local market, I the market has dropped in opening numbers, right? This could be attributed to President Donald Trump's announced tariffs over the weekend. So President Trump did say that he will be implementing reciprocal tariffs, and the Philippines could take a hit. I mean,
How will the Philippines take a hit, though? I mean, we're allies, and we're hoping things might be better for us. But what's the case now for the markets?
the case for the Philippines right now is President Donald Trump's unpredictability. I believe what he was mentioning was steel tariffs, right? So he was mentioning about steel tariffs, and the Philippines does export steels to the U.S. And somehow that would affect our export performance. Take note that the Philippines is the U.S. on average in the last years, it has been taking about 16% of the Philippines exports. So if any of the products that we are exporting to the U.S. will take a hit from tariffs, then it would affect somehow our trading performance.
Right. Apart from tariffs, President Trump himself is attending Super Bowl. I
Yeah.
hope that makes a difference, because a lot of market players don't really watch the markets at the time Super Bowl goes.
Yes.
Do you watch Super Bowl? I mean, I'm just really curious. In the Philippines?
Oh no, I'm not
We
really.
don't,
a
right?
Super
Because
Bowl-
when I was doing work in Hong Kong and Tokyo for Bloomberg, I mean, everybody watched Super Bowl, and no one watched the markets.
Yeah.
But we are watching the Banco Central.
Yes.
I mean, that's some kind of a sliver of hope there. I mean, you talked about the steel tariffs, but rates here are coming off,
Yep.
and that's very good for the markets. But how good will it be with these uncertainties that you mentioned?
Well, with respect to the Bangko Sentral of Pilipinas, I believe investors are already taking into consideration the possibility of a 25 basis points rate cut by the PSP in their meeting this week. I mean, we've seen some supportive numbers. Number one, GDP growth fell below target last year, which goes to show that the Philippines really needs support and policy support. And number two, we have satisfactory inflation numbers. Number three, we have somehow a strengthening local currency. So I believe investors are really pricing in the possibility that 25 basis points will be at the table on this week's meeting. But I think at the same time, investors are looking further into the future. Like, okay, so 25 basis points, it's given. But what about the succeeding meetings of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas?
So it's buy the rumor, sell the fact. That's why the market
Yes.
is like sort of selling right now.
Yep.
I mean, what's going on and what's going to go on
Yep.
in the next few days
Yep.
until Thursday.
Yep, like it's really more of how much more can the BSP provide support to the local economy, to the local market. I mean, yes, 25 basis points is there, but given all the scenarios that we are facing, the possibility of Trump imposing tariffs, which in turn could be inflationary to the U.S., which in turn could slow down the Federal Reserve with its own policy easing. How would that affect the BSP?
So total of rate cuts for the full year? your
Well,
opinion?
for now, I mean, we're looking at 50 basis points. 50
And
basis
government
points.
yields, they've been falling. So
Yes.
that's pretty supportive as well of the
Supportive
markets?
for the local market, at least. I mean, if local yields are declining, then there's the possibility for investors to shift from bonds to stocks.
So what are you saying? The PSCI is going to rally? To what levels then?
Well, for the local market, so far the currency has been supportive. Yields have also been supportive. If you're going to look at fundamentals, we're still waiting for full year results. But based on our last estimates with fair values, the market should be above 8,000.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
All
that's-
right, I'll
but
hold you
that's-
to that. That's
okay.
so positive. I'm going to call you back and see whether we do hold at 8,000. Thank you so much, Jafet. Appreciate this time.
You're very much welcome, Cathy.
And that was Jafet Tantiangco of PhilStocks Financial. When we come back, we'll be asking a Feng Shui expert on the businesses that may prosper this year. Money Talks returns after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. So what does the Chinese Year of the Wooden Snake bring in a midterm election year? Tomorrow marks the start of the official campaign period for national elective posts for the midterm polls. Joining me now is international Feng Shui expert Marites Allen. So good to have you with us, Marites. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Yes,
so
ma'am.
thrilled to be here. Thank you.
And
Congratulations.
on our launch date, I hope it's auspicious
Of
then. I mean, I
course,
don't
of
really look at the
course.
numbers, but I do believe in a bit of feng shui. But I wanted to know from your point of view, because the national elective posts are going to be starting their campaign, official campaign period tomorrow, Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
What's it going to be? Who's going to be the luckiest animal sign
Oh my
amongst the
gosh.
politicians? Not to go through their names, so maybe just the
Yes.
animal signs.
Do you want me to give you the truth, or do you
Yes,
want me
ma'am.
to?
What do you have there?
Okay, so I think first things
Looks like a
first.
calendar.
Yeah, in the almanac, do you know that the election is actually a snake day, a day of the snake, a month of the snake, and the year of the snake?
I had no
So
idea.
it's
that
like
that was...
in our almanac.
So is that auspicious then? Is that lucky?
Well, the thing is, it could be lucky to some, and it could be, sort of challenge to others, especially if a person is born the year of the boar or because it's the enemy of the snake.
I am going to have to look at their signs now
Yeah,
after
so-
the show. But in terms of businesses, because we're also interested in the kinds of businesses that will thrive, I mean, it's
Yes.
not really good for every business, but which ones would
Of
you make the
course.
pick? Maybe the top three.
Yeah, the top three could actually be anything to do with AI and technology, so software automation, AI-driven businesses would be very good. At the same time as well, of course, the digital banking, still a cryptocurrency is always going to be there. It's becoming the adaptable currency in many countries nowadays. And would you believe tourism as well, coupled with, solo travelers, because a lot of people now would like to travel on their own. So perhaps, anything to do with water element industry, which is like tourism, wellness, and of course health as well is very important for 2025.
We just have about a minute to go, and I just wanted to put this all in context because we all take this, tongue-in-cheek. We still have to work hard for the very things that we so desire.
Yes,
Isn't
yes.
that right?
Of course, and
that's part of the
nothing,
balance in feng shui.
nothing is set in stone. And to those whose animal signs are going to thrive this year are those who are born in the year of the horse. The snake, of course, is the year, and of course the allies, which are the rooster and the ox, and most especially the monkey, because it's the secret friend of the snake. So again, nothing is set in stone. You can in fact do a feng shui consultation to make sure that you are in alliance with your good luck for the year. It all depends in fact on the birth chart of the person and the living conditions that you are in as well.
Now, would you be surprised if the politicians came to you for a feng shui consultation? Thank you so
Well,
much, ma'am.
thank you so much.
Appreciate so much.
Take care. Good
the
luck.
time.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for joining us. That is it for Money Talks launch edition. Catch us again tomorrow, Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. or a.m. here on One News. We're also streamed live on YouTube and on our Facebook channels. If you haven't done so, like and follow my social media pages. Stay with us for news and views with our kapatids, Diego and Angela Castro.